Hello, hello, hello. Hello. This is a test, test, test. If I bring that up a little more. I missed the ad there. I'm watching Mara for third day. We should try. I mean, two red days in a row. This day does make a sense to squeeze 12 cents. So the my adding period is 23, 27, 25, and 740. Over 740 is like when I look to get out here. But they did it already running out of volume up here. Can't break, then I'll probably add to it. My out cut out half would be high day today. I think it's gonna break. Volumes increasing here. 1 minute, 5 minute, it's garbage. Had it at 20, 28 slot. I'm having trouble with my bills, my orders. It says the contract is not available. The lower volume push. Volume. Gosh, that's why I can't. Platform bounces above VWAP, so I don't want to get too But you know, I just wait and let it. Ah, I'm not gonna chase it. I wanted 30. Well, it's already 20. Wanted 20. I'll let it kind of fail first. Failed here, popped out pretty okay. Area right below it consolidated. Okay. Ultimately failed right through it, so has very good meat because I'm gonna fail it for a little. But if it can't hold 730s, then I'm looking for a move down through 7. Third day continue to sell off 670, 650s even, but then that would look pretty ugly on daily. Price if this day ends, but comparison of volume last days quite large. First day breakout 6 daily or yesterday 40 million, and now right now obviously it's morning, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does 30 or 20 to 30 million today. Consolidating here. Still can't take. How is it not available for 1,000 shares short? Take 5,000 shares if I want. I'm gonna take 50. Get me out. Coffee. Gonna watch it down. Looks good to curl. Now where's my mouse? Market? Ah, what wonkiness. Go. Death candle. Borrow. Ah, let me. I don't know why I can't. That's an error on the. I just want to like buy share to see if I'll get filled. Like to see this. I'd be adding here. Back down. Adding full size of a break of rejects. Like I would have added. Add. Oh, this is right back at the high. Like, oh my god, this is a perfect opportunity to short it. Down 20 cents. My out is 740. I'm told myself I'd scale between 723 and 740. I did hold a position overnight. That's why my average is 7. But it was it 1/3 or 1/4 of what my normal position could be. Or well, not technically of how much equity is in my account. I could 1/100th of it, but I want to scale in 3 and 500 shares. I'm holding 150 right now. I want to add to 200, so a half position size of VWAP, and then projection, projecting this area for 2 days. Look at that. That would have been a beautiful ad. 30s there. Now let's watch if it rejects or holds support at VWAP in the 45. So it's like double trouble here. Two moving averages right at the same level. So and there's a 720 range. 720 40. Let's see if it's strong enough. Right here it cracked like nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if it does the same, but at the same time, there's lots of support in this. Watch the tape. Not really any big bids that'll scare anyone to short into. My average is 711. Bounce off VWAP. No new news about check. Float checker, make sure that my DAS platform is relatively ballpark. DAS says market cap is about 830 million for market cap and a float of 111 million. Website 116. Yeah, in the ballpark for sure. What's the thing I like about this is that it has a very high market cap and a high float, and it jumped quite a bit. It was up, I forget. Highs. Actually, it wasn't that high. Up more, but it was up about 50%, 30 to 50% highest from fives. I was just looking down to get 650s, and that's what we got yesterday. But unfortunately, I only took out a quarter position yesterday at the lows. I was expecting it to go down to 650, so that was my last out, and it bounced on me, and I actually stopped out. Small loss, but see if we can get that today or repeat at least. But if it ends green, especially like under 720, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna try and take my profits quick and get out of here today. But I wish I could have added there, where I totally would have added. Don't blame me. I didn't try. Some asks stacking up. Might crack the 18 level. It gets cutting bot up. We'll see it bounce here. Bid stacking up at 19, so they're in the 20 level. Here once at 17. See. Top stock doing. Buy, selling off. HMO. I caught this short last night. A little small short position. Actually going to add into it. Then shorts are ridiculous price, so I'm not going to. I caught this whole dollar flush. Nice. Paid a $1.20 on it. Solid. That's savage. I also tried to short it, but I would have been stopped out way over. And I scale in between 630s and 650s. Good thing that I provided a death candle. I'm not watching it. I'm having this fill issue. That the contract is not available. I don't understand. And it's now hard to borrow. So that's kind of annoying. Nonetheless, Mara's bouncing here, so let's head back. Still having a fill issue. I'm gonna Okay, let's send this message out. Platform, see what they say, because it's contract's not available. But it's coming up for a third time, so normally the third time is a little scary unless there's uh, less volume, which it looks like it is. Oh, Mara's hard to borrow now? Okay, well that changes things. Guess I can look up my other platform, my shorting platform, how much short it will cost. It was easy to borrow for days. 100 shares, it's gonna be cheap, I think. 86 cents. I'll buy 100 platform. Scale in here. I wanted 28, so I'm putting at 28 here. Small size. I'm gonna do 50 shares at a time. Because I already have 150 on this one. I don't want to go too heavy, and I won. Like I already hit my daily goal, which is $100. Tell me. I am over my profit target, so I'm just gonna take it really light size, 100 shares max on this account. Don't want to lose, and I guess I'm just gonna hold. Borrow. Okay, just got filled on my shorting platform, Trade Hero, at 728 on March. Bonuses. Okay, I'll have to cut the loss on my main account over 740s, I think. Half off it. I only have 100 shares. I'm not going to size in 30 shares at a time because I want to do that. So one's coming up is 7:13 in the morning here. Okay. Wouldn't be surprised if we get stopped out here. Um, I got in at 728 on this account. It's only shares, so I'm willing to hold it like up to 50 40s. Super light. I mean, I can hold it all day. I don't really care what price it goes. But scalpability reasons. So this volume candle that broke the high of day obviously has more like it had less, but overall 5 minute volume is lower. Still a good sign. Yeah, now it's failing again. So see. God, I wish I could add. That's really frustrating, but okay, that's interactive brokers for you. So that's why I even have a short platform for this exact reason. Interactive brokers would like allow you to short. Say it's easy to borrow with 10,000 shares or 100,000, and then I'd short 50 to 100, 200 shares, and it would say it's hard to borrow. And I just ridiculous. I couldn't scale in. I couldn't get out because the second I sell my shares, it's hard to borrow, so I can't borrow them back, even though I have them in my possession already. So I'm screwed there. But on my other account, I pay for short, and they're cheap. So, and it's my main shorting account. This is more my long margin account. Let's watch this thing fail under 20s again. This thing should now collapse. Oh, well, collapse. But for anyone who's like kind of trend line, something like that, lines help the visual, but after you do, well, you see them right away. Okay, so it's either going to fail here. The candle and the steam it has behind it looks like it's going to snap. So the nice 5 minute. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I want it to break the low of this last pivot here, or else technically it'd be a good dip buy off VWAP. But I already had one test and it broke right through the first time. Then we had a second test and it bounced. So third time I want to see this thing crumble to the floor. 15-minute looks good, even though we have the 45 at 7:15s. Yeah, see? I want to see 15. Well, touch, test, and then. So one breakthrough VWAP, one bounce off VWAP, and now technically, well, I wouldn't call this a breakthrough. It'd stop out if you put your stop 1 or 2 cents under VWAP. Silly move, but generally I wouldn't take this dip. Very low volume on the 5, on the 1 minute, and it's not quick. Like normally a bounce would touch, catch a bid right away, and then bounce. Thing is, clearly it's selling off. Yeah, look. So now it's under VWAP. We're gonna see. I'm gonna see. I want to see retest the 7 and then maybe a bounce back to VWAP to add on my short account. If this goes through right through 7, I'm gonna try and get some out at 675s, 650s. That was a low of yesterday. I'll show you in the 5 minute. There, yesterday. That's what these lines are. So I have my outer lines. I can get rid of these. It's a lot of noise. But basically, normally it's 4 or 5 lines. So that's a nice 5 minute candle right there. 4 or 5 lines that I like to use. We're going to get rid of the trend line because those don't do jack. So the outer lines that have a smaller box is like where I like to size in, scale in to. And then the bottom lines are obviously the support and where I should take profits. So I'll show you in the 5 minute. Yesterday, there was a top right at 748. So that was my outer line. And then it consolidated on the 1 minute between 740 and 748. Show you that. Or it didn't like exactly consolidate, but it consolidated right under. That's why 723 to 740 I have as marked, because in this area it didn't necessarily go up and it didn't go down, and it rejected it later. So I wanted to load in this area using the outer line of 750 as my out. If you want to be an absolute scalper sniper, then you could go between 740 and 750. However, it's a really small window, and if it doesn't get there for some reason, like it did today, then you'd be out of the you wouldn't even take the trade. So I give myself a little bit more room, 730s or 720s to 740s, scale out 740s, 750s. And then on the 1 minute, obviously it consolidated between 7 and 723. And then down here, it consolidated again between 660s and 680s. So that was right in the middle, 672 That's where I wanted to take profit in this bottom consolidation. So that's my goal here today. Look at that rejection. That's beautiful. Expect to bounce though, so I'm gonna add at 720s if it's coming back up. But I would like it to crack down to 7 first to make the sell-off even more dramatic, so I have a better reason for it up here. Because this thing can do the exact same thing, right? It's above this low of 7, and it didn't even bounce here. It just will crack right through. So I don't want that to happen again and then break high 740, stop out. So I prefer this to be a 1-minute bounce and then a retest of 7, and then a bounce either or a crack right through 7 so I can get out in this account, or a bounce to 720s and then add on my other account. But I already hit my target, so I'm not going to size in. That add was really nice. I added right there on my other platform at 728s. 729, sorry, my bad. Like it is going to consolidate and curl here. I'd like it to go lower, but the main thing is it already broke this this bounce spot here at 720s, 715s. Hopefully it rejects it this time, but nothing stopping it from high days again. But after these two harsh candles right in the exact same areas, I wouldn't have confidence as a long bias trader to buy it here. Well, actually, it is a good dip buy spot. Consolidated areas, between here and VWAP, right? People that are thinking the opposite of me is like, yeah, it's great. Between 7 and 720s is a great load spot for the next move up and crack through 740s up to 750s, and then a new high of day up to 8s that we saw the first day. That can totally happen. On the daily, is it if this goes green, has enough volume, it can break 750s. This thing can ascend to 8s, 850s, 9s. That'll have a lot of momentum. However, the reason why I don't think it that way is because market cap and the float. It's an 800 million market cap. It's huge, right? Something like what do we have? PHMO. This still holding up actually. I caught that short. This thing has a 4.3 million market cap and a micro float of under a million, 764,000 shares trades or tradable, right? This thing cracked $2 after market, and it has such a small float and market cap that it can be easily manipulated. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing can go in a multi-day runner, multiple 100%, up 37%. Mara, on the other hand, this is a heavy boy, heavy girl. It's a heavy person. Slow moving, not necessarily slow, but I don't know if I'm gonna add here. The volume is declining. I would have liked a better bounce, but I might add. It's still really close to my position, but it is under VWAP and it is testing. See on the tape, watching the tape for a reject, any big asks to come in. I would like this thing under 7 before I add, to be honest. Because, I don't know. There's big candles on the 5-minute, but at the same time, it's shown itself that it can retrace pretty easily above. I would have liked a hard reject with high volume, so I think I'm just going to hold off now and wait my turn. Okay, there's the reject. Could have been a good ad spot. I'd like this thing to touch 7, retest like 715s, and then add into there. So my average will move down a little bit, just above VWAP, but I'll have a little bit more conviction. But I mean, it would have been a good point. See, right back to 723s to the dot. Look at that. See, that's why I don't draw trend lines. I'm not saying that they don't work. Well, maybe they don't work, so do that, right? If I want to do a trend line that touched all of them, you where do you go from here? Then it would have broken the trend line and bounced off of it here, so you don't count the wicks, which makes the most sense, which then touches the top and rejects, but it's not touching this pivot, or we go here. And now what? Should it have gone to 27s? So I like support and resistance areas here. I know I'm gonna get 740s. So that's my outer two lines. The outer box is like, this is red zone, danger zone. This is my load zone. Look at this. Perfect loads. 732s each time. If you say I'm gonna scale in between 720s or 725s, 740s, put you want to size in with 300 shares, put 100 shares or 75 shares at a time all the way up. Do 725, then 730, then 735. Let them get all hit. So you accumulate a nice average in the 730 area. And then if it breaks, it breaks. If it comes down, then great. Now it's acting real slow. Very, very low volume. Normally when there's low volume, you can crack either way. Still skeptical. Down 10 cents on this account. Check out some other movers. This is just doing its thing. I have a side chart up. IPO, this was its top leading gapper, I believe. Hella Pharmacy, biopharma company. Check the news. Please phase 2, that's good. Catalyst, presentation, blah, blah, blah. Annual meeting. So why isn't it moving? It's got a market cap of 10 million and a float of 2.3. So what's wrong with it? 16 million shares of volume. But why? It's probably extremely... Oh, this thing could move pretty quick. So we'll watch it. I'll probably put an alert over 95 just to see if it breaks 3 and we can see a runner up to 350s. But nothing interesting there. Sideways. THMO, I'm not really interested in this. I'm only interested in the short side. And if I had to guess, 100 shares of this thing is going to cost $19. Not saying I can't make $19, but it is significant profit. So for only 100 shares, like I'm not going to spend. I'm not going to do on this stock. I've already traded it. I've made my money. Actually, see if I gave away. Yeah, no, I gave away my shares. Paid for shorts yesterday and I held overnight, so second if you don't pay for shorts again for like the second day, when you cover your position, you give back your shares. Cycling for the day, so but here we go again with the outer lines. THMO, it's a microfloat, so it's very hard to more difficult to short, especially on the second day that it's breaking highs, or it could, or it's right at its yesterday's highs, pre-market. Is a good shorting area, especially that it's kind of flatlining right under this. You can either see a flat top breakout or bottom break. And here, if you want to draw your damn trend lines, there's a trend line. There's an apex point, probably between 580 now, and it'll snap either way. Who knows? Who knows which way? That's what the fundamentals tell you, and the price action, the volume, all of that tells you which way. Watch, it's going to break out to the upside. Great. I'm already out. I took my profit down here. I'm happy. Just going to focus on Mara. A heavier float. It's choppy though today, so I'm curious what the market looks like. Buy. It's retesting VWAP right now. It's 5 minutes. But look how choppy that. It's not really that choppy. It's rejecting this area here. Draw a trend. What Q's doing pretty much the same. Only it bounced off VWAP and is curling, so that's good. And our THMO. Yeah, THMO. Second leading gapper. Oh, false breakout there. take a sim trade. Look at this. So on the 15, there's 4 topping tails on the 15-minute chart. High volume, but still not a good sign. It's very extended. On the 5-minute, it's painted, red and green. But look at the wicks. Like, they're not attractive looking. This is an attractive looking chart. To the upside, at least. I would short the heck out of this thing at 560s. Risk a whole dollar of 6. That's 40 cents. Then your profit to the downside is 410. So really, you're making $1.50 to risk 30 cents, 40 cents. Right now, 15 cents. But I wouldn't be surprised if this thing breaks 6 and rips. 610, 605. Watch for the pullback. Thing pulls back. It's on lower volume, so I'm scared of it. I'm not going to take it. I was going to take a bounce off 6 and then a rip through 640s, but again, look at the chart. This thing can easily do a false breakout. Watch. Look at all the bids getting taken. Oh my god, look at that. Boom. Down 40 cents. 50 cents. Is it going to halt? No. Look at that. That would be a nice dip buy, but that's what I'm saying. Attractive to the short side. This is not an attractive chart. Can't believe I was actually going to take that. Yeah, what are you... That out of here. From a high of 615, 617, a low of 545. Wow. If I got in at 6, I would have instantly been down $40, $50. That would have sucked. That's what I mean. Like, it's just something I'm not willing to trade today. Yesterday was the first initial action. I traded it to the short side and pretty much came out flat because it was choppy. But actually, no, I didn't trade it yesterday. I traded it after market. I paid for shorts, and when it popped up back to 520s after market, I was still sitting here, and I took a starter position at 520s, and I added at 610s, I think, 618s, and that brought my average up to 570s. And then I woke up this morning and looked at the chart in my bed, and as I was watching it, it was like at my entry still at 570s, and I watched it tank. So I was watching it here. I was like, okay, it popped up. It hit a high of 770s. I was sleeping, so couldn't really do much about that. Came all the way back down. It was right around this level. It was on this 5-minute candle, I swear, at 570s or 670s, and it flushed to 350. I didn't get out of bed fast, or I did. I got out of bed the fastest I ever did. I was insane. Mara. Let's go back to Mara. Hitting back highs. That's what I mean. Not an ad. It was consolidation here. Not adding that. But look at the volume. That's cheeks. Cheeks volume. It's volume's loading back down. One thing that we can see is a flat breakout over 33, 35 and volume pickup. I've seen that before, so that's something I'm skeptical of. The 15-minute chart, however, looks in my favor, I'd say. Very low volume. I mean, it just started 2 minutes or 3 minutes ago. Very low volume, and there's tons of wicks, but at the same time, there's three bottoming tails in a row here. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks a new high. Yeah, I wish this thing respected VWAP and the 45. I would have assumed that both moving averages together would have created a bit more of like a hard resistance or support, but I didn't find that here. Like it broke right through like nothing, and then it bounced here, and then it broke right through like nothing, rejected, and then consolidated and broke out. Now it's rejecting again. We'll see if it's a false breakout. But this is my positions window. That looks good now on the 5-minute. Big topping tail. Again, rejection in this overall area, the $30 level, and it didn't even hit highs, which is nice and attractive. This thing closes in 1 minute. Like this. That would be a really comfortable, nice add here for the breakdown of VWAP and then the breakdown of 7. 3. So I'll think about, not really, since I only have 100 shares, I want to be a little bit more conservative. I don't really want to add up here. Let's see. HMO. There's six, back to sixes again. So it bounced. That would have been a really nice bounce. Let's go to the 1 minute real quick. Yeah, bounce hit 640s, 550s. Sorry, bounced to 566. That would have been a nice 15-cent bounce, and then went right back to six. That's a really nice candle. Five side at least. 718s back under VWAP. Back to the 5 minute. So these are the stocks that I'm watching. Spy's bouncing. I'm surprised that this isn't following it. Mara was following the Spy yesterday like a hawk. Every bounce that it did, Mara did. IPO, there was a leading gap or garbage. Surprised not enough volume is coming in and ripping. This thing could have ripped to 5. I don't know why. HMO is now the leading gapper up 50%. There you go. It's back through 612s. And PCT, there, that's a nice short right there. So big topping tail, death candle from 680s back down to 630s, rejection through BWAP, bounced off the 45 at the whole dollar of 6, bounced up to 635s in this window that I was looking at. Could have, look at that, could have gotten short easily in that in between that area, and then ride this to the short side. But again, it was easy to borrow, and it told me that I didn't have any contracts, so I guess it didn't update to hard to borrow. I don't really want to borrow more shares on another platform because I hit my daily amount, but let's just look for fun how much 100 shares is going to cost. It's pretty cheap. Yeah, it's $1.12. So it's $1.12 for 100 shares. Not bad, but Mara is just not dying. You cannot kill this thing. A PCT. Wish I got that. 9 million shares. Again, it's a 780 million market cap. Look at that. You let it do its thing. I worked out my window of risk. That's where I wanted to risk. This is why. That was a high of day. The bounce. So there was my inner line, my outer line, willing to scale into that. Anything over, probably set it at 10 cents higher. So anything over 650, 651, I would stop out. So if you wanted to short the front side, you would have to stop out. You have to have a really good stop out game. And then it comes back in, and unfortunately, you'd be like, okay, it came right back in death candle, get right back in this level, and it would have stopped you out a second time. That's the front side, man. That's why you shouldn't go 100% over VWAP. It's tricky. Now here, it snapped through VWAP, and now there's a setup. Now there's a setup of it's under this level, and there's a higher level here. So where do you set your risk? Well, this is where you want to get short. Wait for it to touch VWAP, and now it's not only this window that you want to short, it's also a VWAP rejection setup. It's really nice. It's still a first green day, so it's broken, it's bounced once, twice. Yeah, there is a risk, but you have to stay true to it. Would be the backside I consider. Here's where you get short. 630s between 640s, could have got a fill at 635s there, and then now you're adding. Take a quarter out or half out, back at the whole dollar at 6 because it might bounce again. And if it breaks through, then you wait for a bounce and reject off 6 to add full size and ride this thing back down to hell. That would have been my game plan, but I'm already at my profit target. I'm at 120 bucks. 120 bucks on the day and $4 in the money with 50 shares here. Up 1% on this trade already. Very small size on Mara. I don't really want to overextend my welcome. It's already 10:30. So back to Mara. It might bounce at the 45. Who knows? 620s. All about risk management. But anyways, let's go back to Mara. Copy. Duty. This isn't really attractive to trade anymore, to be honest. I would have liked it to test once and then reject, but going sideways is... Don't waste my time. This 5 minute looks nice. A rejection off 730s, a low of 717s. Has higher volume, which I understand because it was a false break there. A nice rejection, but it's holding a 17 level, 717. I wanted to break 717, hit 715s, and then obviously move that down to 7s. But considering that the volume is already decreasing so much, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like no more than 20 million shares traded today, and this thing pretty much reject back down to 670s, 50s. So I just have to be patient on it. I'm not going to add. It's hard to borrow. I already have 100 more shares on my other account. So break a VWAP. Means my average on DAS is 711s, holding 150 shares. And on Trade Zero, I'm holding 50 shares at 729. I also, full size is 100 shares. Probably look for 30-ish cents or more. I'd like, but it needs to give me a proper reading to add. This isn't it. For me, at least, I'm not that aggressive. I could add here and risk the high 734 and stop out half, and then stop out the rest at 740s. But I want to be sure. I was pretty confident with my starter here it was going to reject. That's pretty much what my on my Trade Zero looks like, right at that level, only it's right here. A little more impressive, straight down. But now it's just bouncing and consolidating. This is disgusting. Let the volume die down, and then let a seller just dump this thing. Or pump it. But on the daily, you can see over the 750 level, it has room to 785, and then up to 8. And I don't want to hold. Like, that's your clear get out line. Get out of jail free. If you don't take that exit, hold on, because you're going another 50 cents up to 8. Obviously, it can stop out short sellers at 755 and then flush right back down. And if it did, I'd get right back in. But you don't want to be the guy who, oh, well, maybe the next resistance will hold. Just hold another 40 cents. This thing's going to stop me out. I swear. It's going 740s right now. I'm going to kind of get out of this. That's 75 shares. Take out half. Yeah, everything's pumping to the upside. Let's take a look at the SPY. Yeah, there goes the SPY. Makes sense. HMO back in that window. I'd start shorting here, but you have to be careful. Where do you want to start shorting? Between 580s and 640s. It's a big window. So small size every 20-30 cents. I'm going to take a starter of 50 shares even at 580s. Another 50 at 6. Another 50 at 620s. Another 50 at 630s. All the way up to 7 or 650s. Let's see. And so low volume, big spike on. I hope it rejects, but this is some funky price action. Love to see this thing reject, but people are still buying it on the ask. Not really big orders. It's just stacked. It's pretty heavily, it's not heavily, it's thickly traded. The bids coming in. How many times is this thing gonna try before it just calls it quits, man? I just had a high. Put in a wick there, topping wick at 389.36. Broke high of day, but now is coming back down. That's probably gonna help this breakout fail on Mara. HMO. This is where I'm getting short. Remember? I'm not going to take it because I already did, and shorts are extremely expensive. But if you have a better broker than I do and they have better locates, then this is where I'd be taking it. Look at the volume cut down. That's really good. So getting short in this area. If you want to scalp it, you can scalp it back down. You're at 6, right? VWAP is 650. That's 50 cents. 40s. When you want 50 cents a share, again on Mara, this 5-minute candle, another topping tail. If it closes right around 723s, that would be really nice. Show you that it can't hold in this window anymore. Window is closing.
right? Just like THMO, this window is closing as well, quite quickly. So you're at 6. Let's see how fast it goes back down to VWAP. 50 cents. You're holding 100 shares, that's 50 bucks. If you want to make 200 bucks a day, like a normal day job or an average day job, 5 bucks an hour, 200 bucks a day for 8 hours, you're going to take, you want 50 cents, 400 shares. So if you want to do 400 shares times $6, well, that's $2,400, right? And if you make $200 on that thing divided by $2,400, well, how much is that in percent? 8.3% return. Most people don't earn that in a year. Well, on average, you earn that in the year. If you invest in a random, or not a random, but like a specific index, like buy or something like that. But you want to make 8% in one day? My trade on this stock when I was up 570s or 670s, my apologies, 68 I believe is my exact average, and I caught it back down to 5 or 4 like 540s. And anyways, it was like a 18 or 19% return. Huh? Most people like that's somebody's index fund for 2 years. Oh, here it goes. 80s, 74s on the bid. Right? See how fast you would make 50 cents. There's an 8% return. Uh, sorry, I was just reading your question. I don't know why I didn't see that earlier. Set up to show me, but it didn't. My apologies, mate. That in. I wouldn't to buy in like to the long side. No, that's tricky. I it's really thickly traded. As you can see, it's like all yellow. That's like the key on like the level 2. I know. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't be showing the level 2. My apologies. I can get a strike on that. But anyways, on Mara, very thickly traded on the tape. See, there's a lot of shares going through, a lot of volume. I think it's gonna stop me over here. Um, Dang, that's kind of frustrating actually. I would have thought it'd crack, but volume's increasing on the 5-minute. I wouldn't take this to the long side. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I record so I can see this in the future. But yeah, so Mars is very thickly traded, has an 800 million, 828 million market cap and 110 million share float, right? Compared to like THMO, as I was showing you before. This thing is a micro market cap. I'll show you. This is what I'm looking at. It has a 4.3 million market cap and a micro float, 764,000. Right? It's very small, so you don't need a lot of shares to buy this thing up. Considering why it moves so much. There's a short that's coming into view up. But in Mara, thickly traded. Wow, look at that move. And it's extremely choppy, so you can't really see your lines. If you wanted to buy this thing long, it would be down to the $7 level to have a better risk to reward. So buy it in the 7 level or load in between 7 and 675, I'd say, and then wait for this to pop through this area here. But do your thing if you want. If you are a micro cap trader, trade THMO, or something like the leading gapper. EXRX is a leading gapper right now. THMO is a second. Honestly, I haven't been trading to the long side in probably 2 weeks because of this. Stop out of this. So stopped out half there. The reason why I stop out half in and not full in this area is because there's been so many times that it hits your stop
and then you stop out completely, lose your average, take a full loss, and then it comes slamming right back down. And then you're like, okay, well, where do I get back in, right? So my experience is you set your stop comfortable of where you're willing to lose more. Because if I stop out half at 740s, I have to be okay with taking the other half off at 750s or 760s, right? It'll be technically a bigger loss than if I stopped out completely here. But more times than most, watch this thing come in and reject in this area. And then I'd feel really stupid if I stopped out and it came right back down to my entry. So stopping out half gives me the opportunity to first to take a smaller loss and then come back in and play to the side again. Same rules apply to the long side. That makes sense. Your questions here. If you're new to this, how long have you been trading? I've only been trading 2 and a bit years now, but I do this every day, full time. I've had a lot of screen time. So see how the volume is coming back down? I can't add, unfortunately. At least I don't think so. In this area. You have to be careful because if I add here, my average would go up and then I'll take a bigger loss. Probably stop out the full thing if it comes back in. If this breaks 750s, then it can look like a better long play because now you have a higher risk to reward of breaking 750s, using that as support if it breaks and holds, and then your target would be 780s. Should have added. I add? But yeah, so that's what I thought. Since I'm in 50 shares in my other account, it's nothing like this. I can take 5,000 shares. I'm just doing this because I already hit my daily target on my other account. But I stream every day. Actually, so I used to stream every day for a couple of months back, a couple months ago, and then I had a little bit of a medical issue, so I stopped streaming every day. And in that time period that I stopped streaming, I didn't record my screen, I didn't do anything, and I lost kind of track of my own track record. So I wanted to stream again. Honestly, I stream because it keeps the data on my computer low because it's on YouTube, right? And it's free to watch there. So if I ever want to go back to my own trades or what the market did that day, the price action, then I'll just rewatch my stream instead of having like 7 GB for a 2 hour video. I used to record, but I have well over like 100 GB on my hard drive of just trades. So, and I have to lug that around and it's laggy and stuff. So YouTube's great for that. But yes, I should be streaming again, more or less every day. Um, I'm not trying to, I don't pump a course, don't trade for anyone else. I honestly do it for my own accountability, and anyone who wants to join can join. I like if somebody wants to trade, tell me what they're trading. If I'm doing something wrong or what you think. I've been doing it for 2 years. I live in Canada, so I'm a Canadian securities and finance student, and I've had through COVID and whatnot, I've had the opportunity to stay home and grind this, and I have 10, 15-hour days, 2 years of screen time, understanding chart patterns and price action. I guess you can see my level 2. I'm not supposed to be showing this, so I try to cut it off. But I make mistakes every day. But it's all about risk management. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. But I'm not a professional. I'm 23. Here, if it breaks 750, I'll just get out and I'll move on. Not a big deal. Looks like it will go, so then we can talk about a long position if that's what you're interested in. But Mara, it's again big market cap, big float. Wouldn't really trade it to the upside unless there was like extreme volatility. Mind you, more volume is coming in, so there is possibilities, probability. See how it's in this window?
I would add here, but I can't because I lost I lost the borrow on hard to borrow this HTB rate whatnot. I'm not going to add here. One thing that I have also learned to the short side is I do not like adding to losers as best as I can. Like if it makes sense. Like right now, it makes sense to add here, but since I'm already uh, average 30s and I'm at 44, so I'm not too out of them on that. So I could add here, but then I'm adding higher, and if it consolidates here and breaks out higher, I'm just gonna have to stop out right away. So I rather have it fail here, firm, break down VWAP to have more probability on my side, and then watch this thing fail even more. So I rather just cut the loser small. Why would I add to a loser and then have the probability against me and make it even bigger? Yeah, this is why you make these windows, right? You can see what the price action is doing. I'm going to get ready to stop out the rest here at 75. Show you what the loss is. Yeah, I'll stop at 51. Sometimes put it higher than that. The psychological pretty numbers, I like to call them. 750, $7, 725 quarters every quarter. But this looks pretty good, honestly, to the long side. However, I'm not going to the long side because my bias is to the short side. I'm not going to, but high volume on the 15. Pretty nice breakout candle there on the 5 and the 1 minutes, and the daily as well. So daily can get more volume coming in if it breaks 750. This thing can shoot up to 8. And I'd say there's a pretty good for long bias trade. Here it's failing. See, if you were a sniper entry, you'd say, no, I don't like this window between 725 and 740s. I'm going to wait for a retest of 750s. And you can absolutely scalp this. It come down. No, doesn't. Nice pullback if you want to get in for a quick scalp. Get around 725s, like the breakout area. 30s. Bounce. Seeing big sell-offs normally come with grindy pushbacks, you know? I don't know if you're still watching it. That makes sense or answer your questions or sun's coming through the window. Can't see nothing. Oh, it's the wrong window, my bad. Okay, back into my dark. Um, ZFC. Sure if I can see the time that you toggle timestamps. There we go. I normally never have viewers. Kind of cool that I had a bit of interaction. Analytics, views. Giving me the like. Let's just see. I stopped out here, so like if I stopped out full, then I could feel FOMO if it came right back down. Like, oh man, now it's right in this area again. What if it just wanted to stop me out? Okay, well, if there was more shares to trade, you can add back as this failed here in back into this level and then risk high of day again. You like, look at that. I'm still in the trade. I took half off, dollar loss, 75 shares. No big deal. Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sticking around and trying to understand. Please, this is your time, man. Or if you have questions, if you want to chill, how long have you been trading?
Do you trade, or do you even trade? What interests you about what I'm doing? What do you do for work, or and where are you located? Because for me, it's 7:59. It's 8 in the morning. Everybody else in my family and in life is just getting up, and I've been up at 5. Early risers. So there, the candles are getting a little bit shorter here. Volume's dying down. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing curls. This would be a good dip buy area. Now, if you had a heavy position on a short side, one area is you take half off or a quarter off the highs, like where you ever stop out, and then when it comes back down, start to take some more off because this, well, not anymore because this bigger candle and bigger volume here is breaking through the EMA, but it's getting bought up, so this would be a nice cover spot as well. You cover for a loss, but a significantly lower loss, and then you can cover more as it curls back up or completely get out. But again, this is what I mean. Look, I stopped out half. I'm still in the trade by half. If it tanks, technically, I could still make my money back. But I don't feel FOMO. I took off half. Uh, I can say, sure, I should have waited till 7:51. I wouldn't have been stopped out, but that wasn't my stop. So got it. Watch it come back down. You live in the East Coast, so you lucky. It's 11 for you. What do you do for work? Are you at work, or do you work from home? Do you not work? Do you go to school? A good lesson. So my average is 729 on my Trade Zero platform, and it's right back at my entry. No, I didn't stop out. My stop out was way over 750. I'm kind of just holding it for the day because I have a pretty high conviction that it was going to go down, but now that it broke out, who knows, right? Look at that, right back to V. What I'm saying, this is what I'm seeing. I'm trying to beat. I don't know. Don't have a course, but telling the truth. Now, if this thing rejects, I'm not gonna feel stupid for stopping out at the highs. Like, wow, I was that guy. Took a loss when I could have moved my stop a little bit higher, and there it is. But expect a small bounce here. You're in college right now. You work part time. Okay, what do you study? I went to college for 2 years right out of high school. I studied kinesiology and sports science. Finished a diploma and then found that that wasn't my true calling. Um, I really enjoyed finance and business. I have uh, entrepreneurial parents, and they pursued business side, and I saw that growing up, so that sparked my interest. I learned through COVID what day trading was, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I considered this window like playing video games. Looking at a chart, reading it, it's a language. Reading price action, reading the level 2, understanding what this, and reading the ebb and flow of the market and individual stocks and what makes it fun based off catalysts like the news. Like this was on 15th, 13th, March 16th. This was um some more news. So successfully completes blah 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 March 15th. Oh, that was the that was stock market. But anyways, yeah, so figuring out what makes it move was my calling, and I'm young enough and have the resources gratefully and fortunately to pursue this. And I my parents, after I got my diploma, look, I don't want to jump right back into school. I want to take a risk and study this. I promise you, if you let me do something that I love and am obsessed with, I'll show you what I can do. And like, okay, you do. So I worked part time as well in construction, and I was also a lifeguard. And then got laid off as a lifeguard during COVID, obviously, because germs and they shut down the pools. And then I just never went back because I got into this, and it just took time recertify. And but I did like.
And exercise science. Okay, so we got something in common. Here we go. Small world. Like it. See, breakthrough VWAP. Watch this thing tank. Well, saying that, but I doubt it. I'm out of coffee. The worst feeling when you go for your cup and you have nothing else. Okay, so that outer window that you saw there that I had pre-market, or actually from yesterday, that would have been your sniper scalp right there. You know? This stuff works. These lines work. I'm not a huge fan of trend lines because I can point them out without them being there, and I feel like they just kind of mess up the chart a little bit, and they don't always. But like, I want to draw a 5-minute trend line here. Now it snapped. There's a little flush, cheeky flush. I'm gonna delete that because you can see that. You don't have to have a 500 IQ to see that there's a low, there's a higher low, there's a higher low. Low is higher than this one. Was that, and so is this. It's uptrending. No, you don't need a line to do that. I already have 100 lines on here, right? It's already messy. If it was me, I'd get rid of this one because it breaks the chart in half. However, visually see that this is the window of movement. So you have to tell yourself like it's not going to immediately reject when it hits 723. That's not the whole point of it. The whole point is between this area, the stock doesn't move much. It won't break out. This is the biggest travel it went. Right? And I stopped out because that was my line. But you have to be okay with the movement in here. I didn't stop out when it broke 734. I didn't stop out when it broke 728. You have to let the stock move and work. Same in this area, right? It's an 8-cent window, but it still went up, down, up, down, up, down, and then it finally cracked. So that sell off. Expect a bounce under VWAP because of how dramatic the sell off was. Volumes back to like the lows of the day already. I don't think I'm supposed to show you the level 2, so I'm going to quickly look. This is like when I have multiple positions on, this is what I'm looking at most of the time. But I have 2 viewers, so YouTube sue me. I guess it's the tech that will sue. Spy broke out nicely. Look at the spy level. 5 minute. Again, if you want to use your fancy trend lines, go. Oh, it's uptrending. There's a 300 breakout. Nice breakout. It's a psychological level, so it makes sense. People like easy numbers. I'm gonna buy at 300. I'm gonna buy at 350. All that kind of stuff. There's my futures. Did I show you anything? No, it's on my entries. My account. So yeah, here are my futures. I definitely look at this not as like trade sentiment, but just to see what the overall world and market's doing. So for example, I have the ES here, which is the SPY futures. That's probably the most looked at. And see trend line. So obviously point out that we're in a downtrend. Gonna that. Dotted lines VWAP. It's an outdated chart. Dotted lines VWAP. This is like the 200-day moving average. Down here, this is silver and gold. Silver and gold. Because everybody looks at silver and gold. Good to see where they're at. I'm a gold bug. I don't I don't invest in like companies with gold, but I live in Vancouver and there's good friends with Jay Martin. He's a YouTuber as well. He studies gold and mining resources and all that, and he holds the VRIC, the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. Go to that and all that. This is the Canadian dollar future. So 73 cents to the American dollar. This is the American dollar compared to 100, so it's up 4. Obviously, you can see you had a big pump a couple days ago or yesterday. 30-minute chart. Here, this is crude oil, I believe. I write that down. Yeah, crude oil. So that dictates gas prices and rates helps. It's good to see where crude oil is at. It's very popular. and it's tanking. It's garbage. This is the 10-year T-bill. So this dictates bond prices and yields, so like interest rates. This is a big one. This is probably one of the bigger ones that I focus on. Um, and then we have a little bit of commodity here. This is soybeans, and then this is corn, I believe. So those are the top two commodities, farm products, if you will, that dictate market prices. My sister's vegan, so I always wonder like how much is she paying for soy, all that kind of stuff. Not that it matters, but good to see. Like having a even if you don't trade, you're like, okay, well, you can see that when the dollar goes up, gold goes down, or vice versa, and this is where the market's at. So that makes sense with interest rates and bond yields. Um, and crude oil, like my gas, it's getting more expensive or it's getting cheaper. What is it? Um, and two commodities just to understand. If like quick look at that, and then go back to my focus. So I have you can't see it, but I have like top gainers over here, like scanners and whatnot that I can see and flip through. So like LIPO currently is the leading gapper. Quickly, my daily process is I go through the daily gappers. To the upside, I look at the fundamentals, so the market cap and their float. Those mostly are the two that dictate uh, the language or the flow of the stock. If it has a really high market cap and a really high float, then it's probably going to trade really slow and thick. If it's like a micro float, then it can be really choppy and up and down $2. And then I have the news here, as you can LIPO. So this is the news for that came out at 8:30 your time. Successfully completes phase 2 clinical trial. So that's a good catalyst, I'd say. Hence why at 8:30 exactly, it pumped straight up to 313. It's up 40% right now. It sold off. However, 10 million shares or 17 million shares traded, and it's not doing. Can't trade that. I would expect that if this thing came back over 290s, $3, it can run maybe to fives. Again, on the daily chart, you can see this is probably why it's not running. Look how many red candles there are, and look how big and nasty they are. So gotta be careful. Not something I would trade. Next one, EXRX. Now this is the leading gap. We're at 43%. This looks good. 15-minute is very extended, all green candles since the open. Daily chart, it's almost non-existent. It sold off so much. Up here just to see it. So daily chart's garbage, so I wouldn't. Even yesterday, like there's no volume. What's the on it either? I don't have any news. Um, so it's tricky. Short sale restricted, 4,000 shares. I can short this if it breaks VWAP, but it's cheap stock. I like things over $3 because they move more. I'm not a scalper. I don't want to take 10,000 shares for 6-7 cent win. That's not kind of how I trade. So I rather see $3-4 stock and take on 2,000 shares and make 30-40 cents on it. That's more rewarding, and I like the price action around that. But this is good to the upside if it's above VWAP, it's above the 45 moving average. It has a flat top breakout of $2. $2 is psychological level. The thing can run. It has tons of room. The next moving average is 260, so it can run 60 cents. That's a big percentage if it's $2 stock. CT, second one that I wanted to short. So here we go. On the 1 minute, this is the window that I made for myself. If I was a scalper, I could have gotten in here or even here after I was stopped out once, twice, came in, could have made a lot of money. So this is 630, 635 rejection of VWAP down to 6. So 30-40 cents there. Probably would have taken some out around this level, but I have no levels. So draw one there, get above. Also, this pivot of rejection there. So yeah, it hit that level right there. So that'd be one exit point. Then I came back up, rejected again. You could reload there, but then here's the tricky part. Once it starts curling and it didn't make a new low, that's a sign to get out. Because when it retests, it could break out again. I'd stop out. Probably half my size there. Something about EHMO, we know this. Obviously, look at that. What was I saying? Load in here and then watch it fail. right through VWAP, retest, reload under this 580 level, and now watch it break 513 down to fives and probably back down to 410s. Maybe not today, but maybe Friday, tomorrow. Yeah, it's something. That's why I'm trading more to the short side, but it's hard to morning. All right, let's go back to Mara, our actual position. Wow. So as you can see, under VWAP, it did an under VWAP trap again, broke through it, hard reject once again. Now, what if it rejects VWAP again? Oh, that'd be good for us, but it's choppy. When it's choppy, you set your prediction and you move on. Don't overthink it. Keep it light. I'm not in with 5,000 shares. I'm not sweating on this trade because of this exact reason. Choppy, thickly traded. However, I liked the setup. I liked the setup yesterday, and I held a 100 share position, a very small position overnight, because I would have thought that it would reject this level again and then break 650s and retest like the $4 level. Because on the daily chart, it broke out on the 13th, gapped up again on the 14th, and then had. This is the problem. If this candle, the second day runner, was green, the third day, the first red day, would have been a beautiful setup, but it ended red. That kind of screwed things up for yesterday, and that's why it's just a small doji because it went up and down. It stopped me out. And then today, it's a good bull flag breakout. If it breaks 750 up to 8, it can break out once again. So that's this really small position. I already made my money on called THMO this morning, holding a position overnight. So this is just fun holding 75 shares. Like it's nothing. Down 16 bucks, 17 bucks. But we'll see. It's right in this area, so it could reject, right? It's still in this window. You can load in as much as you want. I'm not looking to add until I have confirmation of a breakdown. And I think because of how many times it's gone up and down in this level, my confirmation will be a break of $7, a flush, and then a retest of around 7, could be 705s, and then add into that, bring my average down, and then watch it retank. Hit 672s, 650s, and call it a day. Short winner. Even if I did that, since I can't add on this and I only have 75 shares, if I make 50 cents, I would have to bring it down to 650s. 5 shares, 6 cents, I'd be 35 shares, 32 and a half, whatever that is, 32. I would cover my loss for the day and actually leave me in a slight green. And that's all because I only took half off. I was risking a little bit more of a winner, but it is. I reached 4 views. PEZ, are you still here? It dropped really fast. Yes, it did. But on a bit of a rant there. I talk out loud because it helps me think, and then I rewatch this later and I can hear my thoughts. What would I think? But honestly, it's pretty boring. I wish I could trade more for you. BXRX, hard to borrow. I'm not going to short this. I have to pay for shorts in my other account, and I already made my money for the day, and I'm still in 50 shares of this Mara short. So nothing really to do but wait. It's Thursday. It's not. There's a lot of econ data that came out. Nothing's really hot. There's no micro. This is the smallest micro float or is there? This is the one runner that I would like, and again, I told you the short side. So nothing really long. But again, the windows, all about risk management. It's not about getting the top. Very often misconception I see. How do you know that it's going to top out? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go up or down or in circles, You just make a probability guess. And after being here for 10, 15 hours a day for 2 years, you get to read what looks good and what doesn't and what probabilities there are. I can't tell you the exact percentages. I don't have the Excel sheet, but I track data. Morning gappers. Price action. It's a language. When you speak to somebody that comes into your country, your area, you can tell immediately that they're not from there by the way they speak, walk, talk, act. Same thing with stocks. They all have personalities. They all change depending on their market cap. It's like their country and where they reside. Their market cap is where they live or their country, and the float is the city. Okay, well I know that accent from here, specifically from this area. How can I ask how old you are? FC? I'm just you don't have to tell me. I'm just interested in who I'm dealing with. See, look at this runner again. Boom, double bottom off 530s, 526. We're gonna retest. There's VWAP. See if it hard rejects. Gotta read the language. And 20, nice. Okay, I'm 22, turning 23 in July. We're on the same age. See the 5 minute? It's kind of choppy down here. This consolidation. That's what we call this. But on the 15-minute chart here, you can see that it's come up. It's supported by this 45-day moving average, and it's looking like a curl. I know it's hard to kind of visualize curve when dealing with squared candles, but once you see it enough, you can see like the curve line, um, and it starts to look pretty. Like if I was a long trader, which I would classify as, I'm just shorting because there's been way more shorting opportunities. It would look good off this 45 support, and I would say it looks good because it broke out, except for this candle, this big topping tail, but it broke out in this doji. It was supported by the 45 moving average. It had a big red candle. It bounced right back to the 45, right, and now it's holding. So I would say if you want, you can risk this low of 520s, buy in at this 540 level, so 20 cents, and then see if it breaks 5. You're in at entry. So there's 570s on this pivot. You can enter for the break of that, or 580s, run this up to the whole dollar and maybe 623s. That's 40 cents, and you're risking 523s. So about 20 cents to make 40 to 50 cents to one. Take that, but again, I would advise not, because look at the volume on the 5 minute, look at the volume on the 15, showing that this curl doesn't have much interest behind it. There's not many people buying this curl. So what's wrong with it? Well, a lot of topping tails. Look at that death candle, right? Look at this big doji, false breakout, and then right back down, and then it bought back up, and it's in this window that people see of shorts. This is where shorts are going to get in. So it has to clear this area. And with low volume, how probable is that? Not that probable, in my opinion. He's having struggles. Just turned 20 in January. Well, happy birthday. Well, belated birthday. I hope you're having a good year. I had my year started off to a rough start. I didn't properly warm up, I suspect, and I did a deadlift. It was a warm up. It was a warm up of my warm up. I deadlifted 40 pounds, like 40 pounds, and pulled both my hamstrings at the same time, at the exact same time. And I had to go to the hospital because I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. That's why I stopped streaming. And then mentally, I was just done. I couldn't sleep properly, couldn't walk. So just a gong show. But we're back for the accountability. I'm loving that you're here. Enjoy your presence. Please ask me anything. I can try and answer it. Either it's trading related or not. We're both 20s, both students. Look at that hard rejection off 580s. Look at the lines. The lines don't lie. Light though, because it's getting lonely in the dark and it's 8:30. I've been here since 5, so that's enough hours in the dark. I need some. Mara doing? Back to Mara again. See, just in the sideways consolidation, it's nothing pretty. Now, I almost wish I wasn't in this, but it's such a small position. I'm not care to take it out, really.
But I don't know what to call you. Pez, PEZ, FC. What do you do for work? Yeah. As I said before, I have a lifeguarding background as well as a construction or carpentry. Do that part time for a family friend. Whenever he needs to kick in walls, tells me to put on my boots, demo the house. But I do this full time, and I study Canadian securities at the CSI Canadian Securities. But hopefully I'll and trade for myself. It all starts with small size, right? Fast food has like the candies. Oh, they were so good. Oh my gosh, like the candies. The favorite part wasn't even like the candy. It was like collecting all the different bobblehead ones that like some famous people, some football players, some Disney cartoons, like just the heads. You open it up and the oh god, I haven't had one of those in years. Oh no, just go down. Give me something to trade. PCT definitely okay. So like this is a grinder. I don't want to trade this. I want heavy price action. I want up and down, extreme volatility. And unfortunately, in the market we're in, we just don't get it. Again, look at the volume. Disgusting. I'm tempted to take a short to like just do something, but no point. High volume. It's gonna be zombie hour in a minute. Zombie hour like this one shorts. Normally it's kind of like vice versa. When runners are gapping up in the mornings and continuing by around 11:30, they seem to plummet, and anything that looks good to short right at the open seems to just like a zombie wake from the dead and just rip your face off to the upside. I don't know why. I don't know how. People call it zombie hour. People call it golden hour. Obviously, you might have heard power hour, which is the last hour of the day, but power hour is overrated. To be honest with you, it was really popular in COVID times, 2019, 2020, 2021. Uh, everyone was staring at the market. No, everyone was home all day, right? So, like, okay, last hour of the day, that's when like most of the volume comes in because big banks are either buying or selling to change their imbalances on the stocks that they own, and you have crazy runners. The last hour, last 15, 20 minutes a day, like pre-market, you can have runners until like 3 hours after the market closes. But now you don't really see it. Obviously, it still happens, but eh, nothing in my interest. And this is grindy. I don't really want to trade this price action. Since it's broken out so many times, I can adjust this because that was from yesterday. So if you want, this is show you what I normally do. Lesson. Where does it fail every time? That's what I ask myself. Right? Where does it fail? Oh, this touching this breakout point here. Mara is still going sideways. God, that stuff. Anyways, where does it fail every time? Like spend the least amount of time consolidating or going up. So that would be topping of this tail. So 662s, 660, call it, and then high of 680. So it's a 18 cent, 20 cent, let's call it, window. Window. This is where you should scale. If you want to be more liberal, if you have more size that you want to play with, bring this down. No, I wouldn't bring it down to like here because that's like, way too big. I want to be a little bit more precise than that. But for me, that's good enough. I do if it reaches 660s, like it is now. Watch. See how it's grinding to this? Look how low the volume is. It's showing me like what this is telling me. Stock language is, hey, I'm here. I don't know if I want to go any higher. You're scared of heights. This is what this is telling me just by looking at the chart. Not even the level two. Looking at the level two, you can see there's not many big sellers and there's not many big bids. So you can't really get a clear read. And there's a decent amount of volume. I'd say 11 million. However, there's one bid to pop it back through 60s. So I'd see like 65, 70s.
but there's no green on the tape. Like there's just nobody here. No one's showing up to the party and be like, yeah, I'm ready to break this thing out to the upside. No, not many here. However, I believe the news is actually pretty good. I read it this morning. Fourth quarter update post market yesterday, and then oops, so some type of earnings call. Not the greatest, but it's up. ERMA that just popped up. Ah, there we go. So here's a mover. Only has 300,000, 260,000 shares. Let's watch this thing. Look how fast this bid and ask move. Here we go. Shortable, 3,000 shares. I'm not going to short it. It just broke the 45 EMA. So let's do this really quick. ERMA. What's the market cap? 2 million. What's the float? 8 million. So this is in my range to trade to the long side. Okay. Small market cap, so it doesn't need much volume and or money to push this thing, as you can see. It's up 60%. What's the news? There must be news. Not here. So why is it moving? See the volume. Did it just catch a bid, or is there an investor? I wouldn't be surprised post-market you'll see some news saying an investor, an insider, is just buying up shares or selling. Who knows? But selling would drop it. So buying up shares. There might be a PR stunt in the next couple of days. This is something to keep your eye on. Let's look at the daily. I know I'm moving fast, but it's a fast-moving stock. Look at the daily here. There's high resistance at 550s, 560s area. Let's call that. You can't see it on the 1 minute, but it's up there. Okay, most of the resistance is at this 450 level. So what does that say? 450 to 560, that's a dollar range. So in here, I'd like to see something consolidate to make me either want it to the long side or the short side. So I'd like to see it break through, which it did, 450, and hold this area. That tells me that it can break this previous resistance and hold to be parabolic, right? I don't want it to come back down. However, where's my montage? Level 2. Whoa. Did I really just get rid of it? My bad. Uh, do or load default is DRMA. I'm gonna reconnect it to all of my shares. I accidentally deleted it. At least I thought so. So add that that. Okay. Mara rejected. 730 level again. Okay, back to DRMA. Still with me there, Pez? Right? Unless you say PE. Or you say Z? No, we say Z. You say Z. You American? Talking about that. Anyways, so high is 480. I'm American. Okay, yeah. Say Z. Honestly, I say Z more than Z, I think. I don't know. I think Z just sounds harsh. Do I sound Canadian to you? Needs more volume for me to trade this. I'm not going. Not yet, at least. No, not really. Okay, that's good. I have some like really Canadian friends that out for it there, bud. Oh, big hockey boys. Needs more volume to be more fluid. That's the best way I can describe it. Um, it's 500,000 shares traded, market cap of 2 million. I'd like to see 5 million on this. That tells me that there's a lot of people interested and not just like a group of insiders buying the stock up because they know in a week or 2, 3 weeks there's going to be a PR stunt on it and it might move 100%. It's already up 58%. It's the capper of the day. But with low volume like this, that tells you how kind of crappy the market is. Uh, wow, look at QQQ go. You go, man. I'm going to just turn that there so we don't get distracted. Wow, look at that thing. I think there's take a look at Apple, like the leading gappers, AMD, Amazon, you go. Disney, Wahoo, Goog, no. Hershey's, Meta, mRNA, Microsoft. Wow, Microsoft, you go. Netflix, the upside. Video leading to the charge. QQQ back at QQQ. I honestly, I look at QQQ. Well, I used to trade TQQQ and SQQ. Because it's a triple leverage ETF. So and it's cheaper, so you can buy the stock. Like watch this curl, buy it at 23.32, and that's $1 a share. Obviously, I don't know where you have price targets. I'd sell it at 23.50s case. Coming back to DRMA, it's slowing down and consolidation. Look at this false breakout here, 470s, and then right back down to the 430 level. Wouldn't be surprised if this thing pulls back. I'm not saying it's done. I'm just saying that it needs to pull back and it needs to have a lot more volume. Something to keep in mind, but nothing I would trade. If this had like 5-6 million shares on it, then it's fluid. It moves up and down seamlessly. There's buyers and sellers that are teaming up to move it, and I don't know how to describe it. Like water, it's fluid. It's not choppy. Like see how there's not much volume, so it goes up 3 cents, down 1 cent, up. There's boom, 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 boom. Not attractive to buy this. Go back to our trusty. Oh my God, Mara, what are you doing to me? Okay, there we go. I just need to update. Not as bad. I thought it was coming back up, which again it is. Thing needs to put some respect on its name and reject VWAP. Stay true to its name. If you're a trend line trader, there's a trend line. We're waiting for this to snap down to the downside. If you're a trend line trader, there's a trend. Never broke. It broke up to the upside. If you want to draw more lines because you're like that, there's a clear 731 resistance right there. Sure, it broke out 33. This just frustrates me. I got rid of my 23. I kind of want to keep up. I'm not a fan of it. Mara, get the heck back down. But that's our window, remember? Nice. So Pez, what are you interested about trading? What got you interested, and what made you want to search up trading and see me live this morning? Nice, yeah, TikToks. That's a big one. Um, Good place. You do have to be careful. Like, I mean, I guess with everything, obviously TikTok is, I wouldn't say it's the least toxic place. There's a lot of people on there that might not exactly have your interest at heart. Want to just show you something to sell you a course or tell you false information or don't tell you the risks of trading, and they YOLO like swing options way out of the money and they make a bunch of money. Had like 4% probability on it. They're like, look how much money I made, and it looks really attractive. So that's the one thing with TikTok and Instagram and like all the shorts that you see. That's what I've seen in my personal interest. But YouTube's a really good one. If you want to get into it, the type of trading that I learned and that I really recommend is I'll pump them. Warrior Trading by Ross. Might be considered a scammer in some eyes. I did his course for a year, and I was just like you. I literally YouTubed it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a finance background. I had an interest in it, but I had no idea what stocks was. He gave me the interest and the obsession in the way he trades. Um, Expensive, of course, but I say it's worth it if you really want to get into it and dedicate your life to it, like I do. I'm on my own now. I'm not in course anymore, but I'm happy to say that I enjoyed my time. The community is really good there. Promo us one day. I don't know. That's one. So Warrior Trading on by Ross Cameron. He has really good YouTube channel. He's one of the most popular. I think just over 1 million subs. I think everybody knows Ricky. I also did his course. He points towards more beginners and like overall market trading, which I'm not a huge fan of because there's so many moving parts to the market. You have to understand CPI data and economic data and who's talking, what the president is doing in your damn country, and all this stuff. And Canada, I don't have the same resources, so Warrior Trading just better fit. I like the type of trading. It made more sense, more fun to me. But watch Warrior Trading's live trades, um, and they're like a couple hours long. I swear I watch them like movies, like they're my favorite movies. I'll put them on rewatch, and I'll sit there and just study the price action and what he's saying out loud, what he's thinking during the trade. He's a micro scalper, in and out, in and out, in and out. But he has a really good relationship with her, so he can save money on commissions and whatnot, which I don't. So I don't scalp in that way as much. I do when we have a really nice moving stock, but a little bit different. Um, yeah, Ross Cameron, Warrior Trading, I'd say is the number one recommendation. He's the most um, calm, educational, isn't trying to pump anything. Yes, he has his course. Yes, it's expensive, but it's a really good community you get with it. It comes with charts and scanners and all the fancy bells and whistles, all that stuff. But I'll tell you right now, if you want to get into it, you don't need to buy the course unless like understand and realize that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life. You don't have to spend money. Watch his YouTube videos, watch his daily recaps, watch his morning live shows, and get all the education from and his layout is quite similar. I mean, I worked with him for a year, so he inspired pretty much everything I look at is because of him and the way he trades and looks at news and the market cap and the float, and then reads the price action and then decides to trade it. And precision, man, is absolute robot and a great guy. So, Mara, but to add, I mean, I recently started shorting more than going long on stocks, assuming that you know what shorting is. Wow, this thing catching a bit of a bid here. Oh, see the tape at least. See the green on the tape. So the green means buying on the ask, which is buying on here, and that shows that people are really interested in this price, which means it's get bought up under the bid here. This is people that are waiting to be filled. See how the bid's always lower than the ask. Um, okay, yeah, so I can explain that more if you're a little bit confused. But basically, shorting is you borrow shares instead of you buy it. I can buy shares at $7 and hope that it goes higher to sell at a profit. Shorting is I'll go to my broker and say, hey, you have shares available, and I'll sell them at 740s, and I'll promise the broker that, well, I won't promise them, but I'll say, hey, if you give me shares to short to borrow, and you sell them at 740s, and it comes down to sevens, and you buy them back, there's kind of a hard concept to understand. Buy them back. That's a profit, just the same way as buying low, selling high. Shorting is the exact same, but opposite of selling high, buying low, and you make the exact same difference. And there's more fees that come with it and a lot more risk. Um, because the broker needs to buy the shares to have them in their inventory. Then you have to say, hey, can I borrow them? And they want money for them. They're like, I'm not going to give you shares for free. I bought these. You have to pay. And I paid, on my short account, I paid $1.20 for 100 shares. So $1.20, not, I mean, it's not really anything. But however, 100 shares, 10 cents is $10, right? So I made profit 9 times over by paying the $1.20 to borrow those shares. However, this is where the risk comes in. If you short them, any stock, anytime, go to 1,000. So at one point, Amazon, Facebook, Tesla's a good example, was like $100, $50, $5, and then it goes up $1,000, 2,000, 3,000, like Amazon. You short it at $5 on Amazon, and it's at 3,800 or was before the stock split. You don't realize 100% loss. You realize like 1,000 or 5,000% loss. Whereas if you buy a stock, say I bought this thing at $7 or 7.30s, and it goes to zero, those 100 shares that I own, I only lose what I bought into it. So if I bought 100 shares at 7.30s, I spent $730. That makes sense. If the stock goes to zero, I lose $730. That's what I invested in it. If I short 100 shares at 7.30 and it goes to 8.30, I lose $1 share with 100 shares, $100. If it goes to $100 a share and I shorted at $7, I'm down $93 a share. That's $9,300 when I only invested 730. So the risk is exponentially larger because it can go to 100, 200, 300. So I'd say if you're new to stock trading, going long first, learning how a stock moves and trends and goes to the upside is a lot more important than learning how to go short. The number one thing, risk management. You start trading. You will be frustrated no matter what it is. If a stock goes against you, you will get FOMO. You will get frustrated. You'll get angry, upset, whatever you want to call it. And that feeling in your body will inhibit you to get out of your position. You will this thing's going back up. It went here once. It can go back up again, and that's called being a bag holder. So you have to learn to cut it. You know, I think you were here when you saw me cut this. It went to my position. I didn't even think twice. I just cut it. I cut half. That's what I told myself I was going to do, and I did it. So risk management is the number one. That's why I think you should go. You should be a long bias trader. Learn how to buy low, sell high first. But yeah, you saw it. So risk management is the number one, and that comes with losing a lot. I don't know any other way to say it, but you lose a lot, you get numb to the feeling. Just like if you get, I don't know, another analogy, you get punched in the head, you know, punch the head once, yeah, that's gonna hurt. You get punched in the head 10 times, probably gonna go numb. It's gonna hurt a lot more, but it's probably gonna go numb, right? So if you take a lot of losses and learn, then when it comes to losing, like, oh yeah, I've been here before. I'm not gonna sweat. No, I lost. This is where I tell myself I'm going to lose. And from personal experience, like I learned in the sim, I simulated traded for 10 months, almost 12 months. And when I was learning how to short, man, I remember once I was in a simulated account, mind you, so it's not real money, but it felt real to me because I treated it like real money. I shorted like 200 shares of a stock in the summertime in August when everything was going up, and shorted at like $5, and then it went to 7 in one day. I was down $2 a share with 200 shares, and I added another 200 shares. I was like, this thing's gonna go to zero. It's just a crappy stock. I added all the way up to $10 a share. I was holding about 1,000 shares at $10. I kid you not. I was like, what? I'm gonna hold this low float market cap crappy stock overnight, and it's gonna go to zero. That's what I thought. What happened? I woke up the next morning, and the stock was at $23 a share. I was down $13 a share with about 1,000 shares. It was in the sim. It wasn't my real money, but Put in perspective, this thing should go down. I was down $13,000 in one day when I was originally risking 200 shares, but that was just refusing to cut my losses where they should have been cut a while ago, right? So that's the danger of shorting. That's the danger of risk management and improper risk. That's something to learn as quickly as possible. And then once you got it down, you're like, yep, this is like you see my lines. My hands are off the keyboard. I'm not. Where do you practice with Sims? That's a good question. So, um, different platforms. Unfortunately, it's like a pay to play. So I this platform that you're seeing is called DAS, Direct Access Software, DAS Trader, and it's a pro version. So I pay pricey number. It's like 170 US, so it's like 230 Canadian for me a month to use this. However, in relative terms, 230 I can make that in a day. So and that leaves me 29 more day or 19 more days in a month to profit on it. So um, but it is expensive. But the platform comes with a replay mode and a sim mode. So I can like watch. I can go into the sim right here, and I can take if I want to short this because it's coming up to this level. I can take. Well, I have it connected to my real account, so I can take like how many shares? 5,000 shares. So you want 2,000 shares in the sim? Boom! I just shorted 2,000 shares at 732. It's simulated trade, so it pretends that I have that money. And like here, I'll go back to my live account. I can still take 4,500 shares. Like level 2. The stars are my real account, so you don't see my number. But this is how many shares I can take: 4,500 shares live right now if I wanted to. In the sim, it goes to trib, whatever that is. I can take another 3,400. If I wanted to, I can punch the sell button because it doesn't matter if it's hard to borrow anything. I can pretend to short. There we go. I shorted 5,000 shares. I'm holding 5,400 shares short at 732. And this allows you to practice. So this platform shows me. And what I did for 10 months is I started with a $25,000 fake account and I traded and I grew that to 125,000 8 to 10 months that I was trading. And I have Excel spreadsheets with net costs, commissions, taxes, everything calculated. Every single trade that I took for 10 months. Um, and that's how I learned to trade. I didn't like treat it as what I just showed you as an example. I'm just going to short it because I can. I did everything to the T to make it as real as possible. And I grew it from 25 to 125 in 10 months. And that's what gave me the confidence to go live. But yeah, so this platform I pay a hefty price, sim trade or to practice, and I can buy short, whatever, just like a real account. I'm getting out of that now. Don't mind those. To put in perspective, I bought 5,400 shares, and I lost 1 cent, which was $54. So I lost $54 on it. But yeah, so you could do that to the long side, short side, and that's what I did. So if I wanted to, like, we'll go back to RMA. Wow, see, that's pretty ugly. If I wanted to take this for a dip trade off the 45 sim, I can take 1,300 shares of this. So let's take 1,000 shares right there. Boom, 407. And I would volatility and momentum. This would pop, but I did this for 10 months. I pretended it was real. My hands would start sweating. I'm like, oh my God, I'm holding $4,000 worth of this stock. What if it goes against me? 10 cents with 1,000 shares. That's $100. You know, you need 20 cents a day. You make $200. You know, I'm down 9 cents already. So I'm gonna cut that out with 1,000 shares. Lost $100 on that trade. Didn't even see it. Right? That's how quick it goes. But yeah, that's how you practice. And it's through this platform. I don't know in America there's other ones like Webull. Webull's a really good one. Free commissions. There's no free commissions in Canada. I don't have a PDT. I don't need. My account is less than 25,000 right now. I took some out, but I can trade as many times as I want in a day. Whereas in America, you have less than 25,000 in your account, you can only trade like 3 times. And that means you buy once, sell once. That's one trade, which is totally silly, in my opinion. This thing's going to come out to stop me out again. I'm going to put my second stop, like, rest at 750s because it rejected this area first time. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes to like 752 and then comes flushing back down. But honestly, I'm just ready to be out of this thing. So it is what it is. I'll probably just cut it on my other account as well, just because this thing isn't moving in here, unless it just decides to tank. Back to the live account. Go. There's 75. Port. Yeah, you've heard a lot about Webull. Yeah, it's a really, I use Webull in Canada, not as a broker, like I don't trade on it, but the charting is immaculate. Software is beautiful. I highly recommend it. DAS is very cool, technical, hard boxes. It's not pretty, but it's the bare bones, the fundamentals, and it's the quickest. I mean, the name DAS, direct access software. This software, I don't have to call up my broker and say, "Hey, can you buy me this shares?" This thing, I'm in the market when I see this. So fastest. No, I don't have the PDT rule in Canada, so I can trade. I can trade 100 times over with $100 in my account if I wanted. But I also don't have commission-free trades. My short selling account is with Trade Zero, and if I use limit orders above the ask, 200 shares or more, I get free, which is nice. But this is my margin account. So this is what I use for going long and breakouts, right? And it's $2. Or it's 0.002. 0.002 per share. So if I want to take 1,000 shares, $2 to buy and $2 to sell. So it's $4 to trade on this. And then there's also ECN fees, crappy fees. Have to be, but I mean, it's in relative terms. If I take 1,000 shares, it's going to cost me $4 to get in and out. And if I make 10 cents, I make $100. So it's $4 out of 100. Like it's 4% of your profit. Not a huge. Mara, nice. Look at the bid. I mean, the ask right here. Here, see this number 268? This is times by 100. So that's 26,000 shares on the ask right now. Right underneath it on bats, there's 15,000 shares. Somebody's holding this down at 740. So that's giving me a lot of temptation to hold this, because if this thing doesn't crack, see how it's adding? People are going to get scared and the bid's going to fall. Watch this thing fall unless it gets bought up, and you'll see it gets bought up on the tape here. If it all goes green, see how it's getting bought up here? Then it'll snap right through and probably go to 750s. This is what we watch and read price action. If I'm a long biased trader, I'm going to see this number walk down. So there, see? It just snaps. See all the green on the tape? Boom. Somebody bought all those shares. And now it has room to the upside. See, watch this thing rip through 50s. I'm going to get out. I'm just showing you what I'm looking at to read price action. Right? Let's see if another seller comes in, or if it can hold this level, or if people are scared and those shares come right back down. The bid, the bigger the number on the bid, or how many buyers want to buy at that specific level. So that gives confidence to long bias traders. I see a giant ask like that we just saw. That gives short sellers confidence because it scares the bias traders, because they need to buy that amount of shares to make the stock go up another cent. So as you saw on the green here, look how many shares. That was 15,000 shares, 42,000 shares, 24,000 shares, 15,000 shares, 5,000, 6,000, 6,000, all within a second went through. If that hadn't happened, this thing would have tanked. See how it's going right back down, 38? Because there's no one there to protect you anymore. Look at that flush. Boom. That gave me confidence to hold. If I put my stop at 740s, well, then I stop out, but now it's coming right back down. So I'm going to set it at 750s, because clearly in this level between 740s and 750s, a lot of people wanting to sell. That's one area of reading price action right there. Just being able to see that and understand how that works, and then seeing the tape. I changed the colors on my tape because I'm colorblind, hence why I'm wearing these colorblind glasses. Um, so the gray color this is, uh, that's between the bid and the ask. I know it's 1 cent right now, so it's in like the half split cents. Blue is the bid, so that's this side. When you see blue on the tape, at least when you're watching me, that means people are punching this thing to get out. Like, get me out the lower price. I don't care. I don't want to be in it anymore. See green, bright green like that. People are buying on this on the ask. People are um, they're like, I want that price because I think it's gonna go and go fast. People are buying. So that's um, I'll say a lot the past, present, and future. I'll keep this here for now. But past, present, and future. The past is the chart because the chart tells you where it was previously. That's the past. Present is the tape because this, I don't have the timestamp on this right now, but these are all orders that are going through right now in this moment. I have it filtered so you don't see like all the 1 and 2 shares, like all the small people like me. I'm buying in an odd lot. It's called less than 100 shares. It'll be represented as a 0 on here. Like I'll show you. See how there was just that's a 1. Somebody wants to sell 100 shares at 760. That's a very small. See, there's zeros here. That's odd lies. So that's less than 100 shares. I have that filtered on the tape, so it's noise. It moves too quick. So I think I have it filtered for like 500 shares or 100 shares. You have to buy minimum on the tape, and it's divided by 100. So 3 is 300, 15 is 1500, and so on. Boom! Look at that bid. 30,000 shares on the bid at 738. Watch this, it rip right through 740s, but there's also a 20,000 share seller at 740s. Look at that stack. This looks good for long bias traders, right? Now we want to see a lot of green on the tape. If we don't see it and we see a lot of blue, people are selling into this buyer and it'll get shoved right back down. Boom, it got eaten. That's why it's important to read this. That's what that means. I know I'm moving quick, but now Mara is moving a little bit more quick. So the past is the chart. It tells you where it's been. Present is the tape. It tells you what's going through right now. These are orders that people are buying on the ask right now. And the future is the level 2 because these are all orders that are waiting to be filled. So somebody, I don't know who, but somebody on the NASDAQ exchange wants to sell 5,900 shares at 739. All these other people as well. Somebody on the NASDAQ exchange wanted to sell 119,000. Keeps moving, sorry. 19,000 shares at 740. So I hope this makes sense. But this is how we dictate things. Like stock trading's gambling. Well, would gambling be gambling if you knew the past, present, and future? It'd be a lot easier to gamble if you. And in market, you pay to play. I pay market fees to see this. That's why YouTube doesn't like it. And I'm small enough. Call myself small enough streamer, if you will. That they won't sue me, but like if Ross from where you're trading were to show his level 2, sometimes he does, he can probably get a penalty because you need to pay to see that information. If I'm broadcasting it to you for free, then that's unfair for them because they're missing out on money, right? So explaining it well. I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm explaining it. Please, if you have any questions, I'll try my best to understand, or if you still don't get it, come back to it. But I know I'm moving quick, but this is real time action, right? I think there's probably a couple second delay. That's the gist of it. That's what I'm looking at. So it's not just the chart. You can't really just trade off the chart because the chart shows you things, but if you don't read it in that time, like if I didn't look at the level 2 in the time and sales and I saw those big asks and sells, I would have no idea what's going on in these candles right here. I have no idea. Like, yeah, it's moving up, it's moving down. If it breaks a 740, I would have assumed it's going to go to 750. It broke this resistance area. But I read the level 2. I saw the tape. I saw how it reacted to that price level. And so I didn't freak out. That's why it's extremely important. See, look at that. That sellers, it got sold into. Look at all the blue on the tape, as you can see. It's just giving up. You know? Then we can go to the chart and say, does the price action match the chart? What I mean by that is, well, we see the levels. We've already talked about the levels of where I'd short. Again, short right in there. Look what happened again. Boom. Beautiful short opportunity in this level again. Right? And it rejects hard. Right? So this topping tail on the 5 minute is a really nice indicator of a down play that's coming up, or a probable down play for short sellers. Right? So if I wasn't already invested and if it wasn't hard to borrow, and if I didn't already hit my price target on my other platform, then I would have sized in there and I would have shorted the pop on here at 740s. I probably only would have gotten half size because I would have scaled like 100 shares, 100 shares, 100 shares every 5 cents or so. And since it only reached 43s, I probably only would have bought in 100 or 200. But nonetheless, I would have been in at, let's say, 40s or 41s, and it's at 33. So that's 10 cents. 100 shares, $10. You know, that's a McDonald's burger. Probably not in these days now, but you know what I mean. Now, again, look where it's holding. 718, 717 is holding well. I'm going to guess, even though it looks like a really nice topping tail here, and look what happened last time it came in this area, it sold off hard, we probably see a VWAP test, volume weighted average price, around the 723 level, and then a bounce back up. Or it can come back down, retest, bounce a little bit, reject, and then fall through the 715 level. And if we see that, that would give me a lot more confidence to then watch for the break of $7. And then we're in business. But this thing is super boring. It's a good stock to talk about because it's not doing much. But again, it's just going sideways. Silly trend line. So it's holding the 45. But it's lower volume. Watch the pop. So this time, if it comes back with more volume and if it breaks the 743 level, I'd expect it to break 750. Then I'd get out because over 750s still has an opportunity to come back down to sevens, but I just don't want to be in it at that price anymore. I don't know what it's going to do over 750. Be risk adverse, get out. You know, I'm willing to take my loss at 750s. No, if this or that, this or if ands or buts. That's what I'm comfortable risking. I don't want to lose any more over 750, so that's where I'm going to get out. And if it comes right back down, then my bad, So we'll see. PCT took over. Let's see PCT again. So right back in this window, right? Here we go. We can short this again. 780s is the high, so I'd be scaling in all the way to 780s, and probably 785 I'd take out half. Or, depending on how many shares I get, maybe it's also 20 cents from the whole dollar psychological level. So it's a tricky one. If you have a couple different plays. You want to size in heavy because you can see that it rejects heavy. Then you can size in normal shares, let's say 1,000 shares at 670s, scale in all the way to 680s, and if it breaks 680s and it hits 682s, let's say, you get out or you cut off half. So then you take 50 or 500 shares off. And then you wait, and if it comes right back in, you size the 500 shares back in and you ride it to the downside. Or if you want to play the psychological dollar level, you can size in, let's say your max size is 1,000 shares, you size in 250 shares or 200 shares in this area, and you let it ride to $7 because now your stop is an extra 20 cents. I don't want to risk another 20 cents with 1,000 shares. That's another $200. I don't want to risk $200, an extra $200, mind you. So you'd probably lose 300 if you're risking the 80s. Another 20 cents on that. So, well, thanks. One way is like I don't know if it's going to break 680s, or I think it will. So I'm going to size in 200 shares now, and if it breaks down, I'll add. If it keeps going, I'll add, and I'll go full size under VWAP. Right? That's a common theme. Or you can be a scalper or scalper mindset and say I'm going to size in full or at least half at 670s, and if it hits 680s, I'm out. I don't care if it goes to 7. And maybe he'll reattack it at 7, but at least I'm not risking the 20-cent move to that new level. So it's a tricky one. Mind you, it's lower volume, 12 million shares. I say that's low volume considering relative to every other day, it's high volume. But I don't like the price action. I do not like this grind higher. I don't know if you probably have heard, but the common saying is longs, they take the stairs up and shorts take the elevator down. What that means is, look, take the stairs, you step, 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 pull back, nice 1 minute pullback here, 2 minute pullback, or not 2 minute, second pullback. These are like the number one things like Ross and Warrior Trading Scalp. They look for the first minute pullback after a breakout, and with news and all the fundamentals, and then they buy that breakout, and it gives a nice return most of the time. Because the first pullback is like the first opportunity to get in on a discount, like discounts. But stairs up, step, 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 elevator down. Obviously, stepping down here, step, 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 elevator down. It's very rare that, well, I wouldn't say it's very rare. Let's see an opposite example of this is here on the 15 pre-market. Look, steps down, small candles, step, 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 elevator up, right? But that's right at the open. Generally, that happens. I just don't like the price action. I rather see more of this stuff, more up, 1 minute pullback, 2 minute pullback, 5 minute pullback, and then a break instead of this choppy, consolidated, retest VWAP, under VWAP, break above, break under, break above. It doesn't have much range. In the range that it doesn't do much. I want it up here and then to break out to go long, or I want it up here to short and then down here to cover. The XRX, low volume, 4 million, 4.7 million. I wouldn't say it's a good short, but low volume. If it pops back up to 180s, 185s, retest VWAP, and you can add for the breakdown of 170s, ride this back down to the low of the support at 160s if you want to get 10 cents in. But just nothing really here to move. This is just dull price action. Nobody wants to trade this. Go anywhere. Same with Mara. Watching Mara could have just gone on me. Look at that. So after that 30,000 share seller up there and buyers, it kind of felt defeated. But you know what? It's holding VWAP again. Volume weighted average price. And that's according to the volume average price over the last like 14 days, I think it's calculated. That's where the price should be. And so I know everybody that trades uses VWAP. It's a very highly respectable indicator, if you will. And you never want to base your trades solely off indicators. That's why you have the past, present, and future, level 2, all of the stuff to help you. So it's at VWAP. So what I'm looking at on the level 2, to back up what I'm saying, is a stacked bid, because this is a respectable area. See, there's 12,000 shares here. So I see that people are respecting this area. And what's going to happen? Look, it's going to bounce because people are respecting this and want to buy it here. Right? If this drops, if all of these bids get wiped out and you see a ton of blue, that means people are done with this and it'll snap right through. Considering that Mara goes up and down is just sideways, it doesn't respect any level except like 5 or 717, the 740s. I wouldn't expect, see how it just drops out. The bids are gone. Well, they're still here, but like they move down. So don't just rely on VWAP here, because VWAP tells you it's at 725. Well, it just went to 723, so it didn't work. Yes, the left side is the bid. So see the line down the middle? Left side is the bid, right side is the ask. And the bid is people are bidding. So I want this price. No, I want this price. People are bidding for this price. They're waiting to be filled. So somebody on, these are all different exchanges, NASDAQ, EDGX, ARCA, Amex, all of these. Bats. These are, I don't know who they are, just like me. Like I use ARCA. So when you see ARCA, see ACB, ARCA here, you'll see my orders fill there. And people are waiting here. 725. Somebody wants to buy. They're like, I want to buy 5,000 shares, 4,000 shares, 3,000 shares at 726. On the ask, people are waiting. Like, I want to sell at 727. So there's always a spread. That's what the difference is called. And this is a very thickly traded stock. That's why it's all yellow. But if we look at PCT again, because it's breaking out down here, I have a second chart doesn't show it. Or this chart is Mara, but this is a different level too. I'm watching two stocks at the same time. See how there's different colors here? So it's a thinner spread, or a thinner level 2. It's not thickly traded because there's a bunch of different levels. There's so many people on Mara over. So many people stacked at one specific price. That's when it's thickly traded. See how it's so many people all the way down are waiting to be filled on the ask and the bid? But here, there's a bunch of different colors because there's only 100 shares. Now there's a couple hundred shares at 675, right? And now there's a couple hundred here and here and here. So when it's like this and it's moving fast, like if this had 30 million shares traded, this thing would be beautiful. It would be flowing up and down, and the tape would be painted. It would be a nice color, but it doesn't have enough volume to that. Mara is very thickly traded. That's why there's only like two colors. See down here, if I move it down here, these are other orders waiting to be filled at 730s, like farther away, and that shows you the different prices. But yes, so that's the bid and the ask. Does that make sense? I'm sorry in advance for the sound of this apple. Hmm. Well, that's a good idea. I haven't eaten yet. It's 9:15. I'm gonna go get more coffee and some water. I'm gonna leave the stream running, but I'm gonna mute myself. I'll be back probably 10, 15 minutes. Feel free to come back. I'll be here all day. It was awesome hanging out with you. You do your thing, man. Guys, good talking to you. I hope I inspired you a little bit, or I hope I taught you something that you might have not known. I'm back tomorrow. You know, if even if it's just I would be happy to or just to tell you or just you watch me. I mean, I screw up. I have red days. I'm not the best trader. I'm doing it 2 years. I don't make a million. Have some fun. We'll talk. We'll chat. But Oh, okay. Am I allowed to? I can't say that. Okay, is that might look like glasses, light and colorblind glasses. Or 717. Can you fly out? I know another 5 minutes to the downside, so I want it down here. Extended, so I would assume a bounce. Time it bloody well bounces, it comes back higher. But you're not even gonna 15-minute, no higher lows. I have to say. Bounce back. Ugh. There's that death candle right there. Trader I was following also traded this. I didn't pay for shorts. Cheap stock. I don't like this price action. Yes, you could have made a good profit here off 265. Sale here would be that's your outer line. Market. Honestly, I would have done that, but as you can see, never came back in that range. I wouldn't have. Other traders do death candle right at the open. That's a null candle. Like it's nulled because it's so volatile right at the open. So many people buying and getting in, getting out. Doesn't anything. Yes, it retapped that, so it implies that that level is heavy resistance. This candle here tells me, okay, after initial open wave is gone, death candle shows me not want to be. And idea is you don't short this because nobody knows it's coming. But once it happens, races, That's where you get in short. Because if I was a long bias trader, if I saw this candle and it came back up, I'll tell you right now from experience, I'm not confident. Like, ooh, maybe it's gonna break after this giant death candle. Look how much volume, the highest volume the entire day was on the death candle. Good night. See you later. Right. So short the pop here, 267, and then wait for the fade all day. That's at 265. If you take 1,000 shares, well, right now it's at 230, so that's 30 cents. 300 bucks gone for the day. 10,000 shares, 3 grand. It all just depends on what how much share size you. I already hit my profit target for the day, so I'm the one and only short that I have on right now. A3. There we go. Now it looks like we're checking V up. Finally. I'm tempted to add, but again, this is green candle bounce after such a heavy 5 minute. On the 15, you always have to assume like what might happen next. Well, it sold off. Now this candle, if it closes, it just closed. Candle, or maybe it just started. So, no, yeah, it just closed. Now it looks good. It's supported by this 23 level, 723. If it breaks the high of this candle in 15.8, I would say if it with volume, it could probably go right back to 740, if not break. Or it can continue selling off. It's a good long setup. Shows me in this one candle that it sold all the way off and got bought all the way back up to hold this level. Good sign. However, this is why you look at multiple time frames. Look at the 5 minute, right? Green candle, yes, it's holding its bounce. Can it bounce more? Yes. The volume tell me that it's gonna rip my face off through 740s? Probably not. The 1 minute. Now it's telling me it's rejecting. See that curl? Now this candle, it's not a death candle. Curl is showing me that yeah, it's not wanting this area anymore. $7 is the level that I want to break. However, since we're up here for so long, I feel like $7. Sorry, $7 is the target. Like people like my other account that I'm shorting, I'm short at 730s. 30 cents is a really nice profit take. $7 is where I would take my profit. However, other account I shorted yesterday, averaged at 703. 1 minute. $7 level considered a good entry. It was between 7 and 723. This was the loading zone. Consolidation. Load into this level over 7.3 out, and I want to short this thing back into 650s. Range, range of consolidation to get in, and there's range to get out. And today, obviously, it's just chop fast discussed. So I added right there 730, and that brought my average up to 711s. I think I chopped out their half yet to come. So my point is under 7. My entries at 7. I'd like to see back to 650s. But I don't think we'll do that today unless we get a disturbingly death candle 7. Possible. And then all the confidence is gone. And I wouldn't be in the short if I wasn't. Why don't you get out? Well, holding 75 shares, down 20, down $14. Not really my. I'm just gonna hold it. Like I can lose $15 right now and call it a day, or I can hold it and I can make it back if I want. Breaks under 7, goes 50, that's 50 share. 75 shares, that's $35. And I can make back the $60 loss I had on this. Market value is 541. Anyways, there's not much to not much to unless we get a death candle here under 17s. That's what I'm looking on the level 2 for. A lot of blue on the tape. 19 getting flushed. Back, no. Now it's coming psychological $7 thing before, as I don't care. I end up watching this later, whatever reason. My entries was said, well, you can small size between level and then risk up to sevens, or you can stop out at 680s, wait the 20 cents, and pack it at sevens, and look where it's failing. So I could have stopped out here, waited the 20 cents, and then attacked it at sevens. To be honest, I would have liked more volume and a kind of a break through sevens, like 705s. I think we'll see that. But and then start to attack the short. It's not a long, not enough volume. I like the price action. I like the stock. Sevens, watch price action. I would start shorting at 705s. Right back down. I wouldn't do. The reason why I say 705s is I want people want longs to think that, and then a flush back through the hole. Now they're trapped right above 7, right at 7. And they're like, I don't know, it's too close to my entry. I don't want to get out yet, but we flush. And it's 705, like the extra 5 cents to like pay for my 1,000 shares. It cost me $4 get in and out of the trade. I hit it at 7 and I get out at 690, then $4 of that. But if I hit it at 705, then those 5 cents will cover the commission. Then 7 to like 90. That's just the way I think. It's 15 cents. Because everybody knows psychological level, $7 is going to have resistance no matter how much the volume is. People are going to where people like to punch it long and short. Just over it gives a little bit more confidence. Long bias traders, and then mind you, if you take it at 705, also broke through that psychological level, so you go to 710, 750, right? Check it here once. If I take it in 5s, I might get blown out of the water. So now that it's above the highest it's been at all day, 705, kill me, man. Jokes. Absolute joke. 704. Watch it flush. If it flushes now, I'm gonna be half. 5s. hit 705s, like that's the high of day. Where else could it go, right? You have to really manage risk. You have to look on the daily. What's the next level after sevens? Probably another psychological level like 725. Holding sevens, ask 705 hits. I think if 705 hits, we'll hit 710, 7. Worry my flush. Or I'm gonna set my fake order. Fives. There we go. Got filled there. 1,000 shares. Bid was there. 5,000 shares. Two. See if it flushes. Bucks in a day. 705s. You gotta look for 7 cents. Get that if we flush. 725s. I'm out. So I'm gonna give myself a 1-to-1. Hit 685s or 680s before we hit 725s. Nobody knows. And clearly, since my risk is equal, then I have to have more biased downside. And why do I have more biased? Well, then that comes in chart volume. Here's 7 on the ask. 8. 5. Ideally, you want to scale out. It has upward momentum. It's last 15, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15 minutes. I don't even know how long that is. Straight to the up. Fiction chart tells you keep grinding higher. Remember, as long as take the stairs, take the elevators. I'm hoping. Look at that top tick. I'm gonna be honest. Well, not top tick. 707. Remember, it might curl here. Out will be flushes here. I have my positions. Half out at 20 cents. Scale out the rest all the way down. That maximizes my profits. Whereas my stops, I'll stop out at half. If I have a level, trying to scalp this one, I'm gonna fully take it out at 725 and 50. Look at that. Down 5, 10 cents for it. $100 bucks. I'm thinking more 6, 8. Sevens. Hit here at fives. It pops back up. I'm in the money, but the trade's not over. It's looking like a nice bull flag breakout or 5-minute pullback after 15 minutes of being extended. But extended like that, it can pull back and normally pulls back to the moving average. So I'm take half out there. 85. I'm not going to be greedy. It's 20 cents. Taking half off 20 cents, I'll lock in $100. Guarantee down here. That's the risk. I'm up 12 cents now. $20. One, 9. Let's see if 5 gets attacked. I'm sitting on the bid at 85, so I'm hoping Anything more than 10 cents, it's a risk. Like I have profits. I can take them. I can take $100 right now, $140, and it's tempting. You're like, oh, I wish I could get that. But my trade fiction, 85. So that's 20 cents. Is what I wanted. That's where the support held. Oh, but it's already dojiing there. It's bounce here, and I might lose the whole thing. That's what I'm willing to risk. Risk 20 cents. I'm willing to risk $200 to scale out. So I'll probably make maybe three tests of 7 that's coming. Already doing it. Dead stock. Back to view off again. People think they need to make, well, they need a lot to trade. Be realistic. Like you're everywhere that on average, like the last 30 years of the market has given you on average like 6 and 8% return a year. Average. Calculating if you invested this year, you're down 10. But take 6 to 8% base. That's in a year. If you can make 2% or more a day, you're gonna, I don't even know how many times, 360 times better than getting 7% a year, right? So for example, it doesn't matter how many shares you take, percentage that matters. Everyone's like, well, oh, in order for this trade to work out, I took 1,000 shares at $7, 705. That's $7,000 one trade. I have $7,000. That much money. But on Mara, my other trade, I have 50 shares. 50 shares at 730s. You know how much? Nothing. That's seven. I have $300 in that trade. 1% of that is $3.64. Percentage is what matters because if I make 2% on this trade, I forgot the number. If I take 57.9, which is 4 times what? You want 5%? I need to make $18 on this trade. That's it. Well, that's not a lot of money. It is 5% if you took $100,000. 5% on $100,000, 0.5 times 1. 5,000. $5,000. Right? I make 18 and the next person makes 5,000. That's the power of scalability. So don't get discouraged if you only make $18. You made $18 on a $400, 300 and whatever dollar trade. You made 5%. You can go home and sleep at night and be like, yeah, mom, dad, everyone, I made 5% on a trade. You make that a year. I did that in a couple hours. You know, like the trade I made this morning on THMO. I shorted at 570, or sorry, 670, and I covered it at I I bought it at 450s. Maybe it was 570s. I had an average of I had an average of 100 shares at 5.8, I believe. $568 in that trade. You know? And I got out at 450. So if I do 568 minus 50s. I made $1.18 share. 100 shares, made $118 on that one trade. How do I calculate the percentage? Made $1.18 divided by however much I put in that trade, which remember 118, 100 shares times 568, 568. 118 divided by 560 divided by 560 times 100. I made 20.77. I made 21% that trade. 20%. If I were to invest 500 $600, let's say the $600 that I used to make this trade possible, and I invested it in buy, hopefully after 1 year I would have made a quarter of that. Just over a quarter, third. The percentage, $118, that's nothing. I mean, it's not nothing. That's a couple Big Macs, but my thing is the percent, 20%. So let's say I took 100 shares, 100 shares. If I took 1,000 shares, 1,000 shares at 568, I would have had to invest that much money. But if I multiplied that by 10 by 20%, I would have made $1,100 on it. Now that a couple of Big Macs. That makes sense? Power of scale. No matter how many shares you take, percentage that you make. Once you're confident that you can make, don't shoot for 20%. I didn't shoot for 20%. I woke up and it was that much. I was like, I'm going to take that off the table. I was shooting for like 5%. I was 4 times over what I was hoping for. I was just so happy that it did a secondary offering while I was holding. I think tanked. If you make 5% a day on $100,000 account, that's $5 grand a day. $5 grand a day will change your life? I think so. Calculate that as well. $5 grand a day, 365 days, $1.8 million, 5% on average a day. Power of scale. Thing is just bouncing around. Back in my entry. 5. Remember, 75 is my a break. Look at this. Ten a.m. Probably shut it. I don't know. Back. But if you're watching, message. Say, hey, you're here. All my trend line friends. No, I'm not trading anymore. Well, Okay. What time is it? It's 10. I'm gonna shut it down for the day. I appreciate the 5 views. That was awesome. Pez, uh, probably not here, but it's awesome talking to you. Great questions. Thanks for the interaction. I'll be here tomorrow. If you ever want to watch, I think my streams are live. You can watch my other ones. I was a lot different of a trader. Lost, I don't know. But anyways, I'll be back tomorrow. All size, come hang out, ask questions. It's all about scalability. So don't, don't be a hater if I'm not using 10,000 shares making a milli every day. That's not realistic. At least just not in the beginning. I'm 2 years in. Most traders that are making over $1,000 are 5 to 10 years in. So I'm pretty impressed with myself with how much information I've held and trading record. But that prove it to you. So thanks for watching. I'm ended here. I'll be back tomorrow.